Hello everybody, what is going on? Jimmy here, back with another video. Hope that you all are doing well. Today, my friends, I wanted to talk about the Valve Steam Deck. Now, as you all know, as much as I love my Nintendo Switch, having a little more power and being able to take it around with me portably, I put that in air quotes because this thing is massive, but ultimately it is still a portable device. Being able to take this stuff around portably is truly a dream come true. And today I wanted to give you guys kind of my final verdict video on the Steam Deck because I've made a bunch of videos praising it. I even made one being a little more critical of it when it first got announced. Now I want to give you guys my thoughts as someone who has owned the Steam Deck for multiple months now. I have now gotten a really good understanding of what the Steam Deck is, who it's for, and if it's worth buying. So this is my final verdict video for the Valve Steam Deck as of the end of 2022. In terms of playing Steam games, it seems like a few of the more niche games that I like, because I do like a lot of indie and niche games. A few of them when I first got the deck, actually more than a few, a significant amount of my library was not playable on the deck. It seemed to be just AAA games and bigger niche games were verified at the start. But now I am proud to say that nearly every single game in my 60 game library on Steam is playable. There is about 5 or 6 of them that are not, but the majority of the games that I own on Steam are completely playable or verified on deck. At the very least, nearly every single game is playable, and in the best case scenario, they are actually verified. So that is really, really great. I have to say that Valve has been putting out a ton of updates and a ton of quality of life features for the Steam Deck, and it seems like as the months go on, the Steam Deck is only continuing to improve and outclass every device in its category. Most of the portable PCs that come out are nowhere near as capable as the Steam Deck, and if they are as capable as the Steam Deck, their UI and their user experience is severely lacking compared to the Steam Deck. And this is not just me blindly talking. I have definitely tried a bunch of the devices in those classes, and they are just nowhere near as intuitive, and they're nowhere near worth the money, because although you can get devices more powerful than the Steam Deck, for example, the Neo 2 is a big one that everybody's pointing towards as being just way better than the Steam Deck. It's this, it's that, but here's the funny thing about it that you're forgetting. It's also thousands of dollars. So, when you compare that to the base Steam Deck's price tag, it truthfully becomes a joke. I hate to say it, but that is really just the truth. All these devices that are quote-unquote better or comparable just become a joke when you compare it to the 64 gigabytes price tag and how easily you can just change out the SSD and save a ton of money, which is something I really wish I would have done. I also want to talk about Decky Launcher and all the amazing plugins you can get. You can kind of fix the screen, which is something that we will be talking about later in this video as one of the negatives. The screen is just not that good, but with Decky Launcher, you can get the Vibrant Deck plugin and kind of fix it at least a little bit, but it's not perfect. And it surely is not as good as an OLED panel, that's for sure. Now, when it comes to other mods and accessories, the only other one I can think of that I've done besides the Decky Launcher and the profiles and the Vibrant Deck and all that fun stuff you can do. You can change music. There's a ton of things on there. I'd highly recommend it if you're a Steam Deck owner. The other thing that I did is a mod on the outside of the console. Number 1, I got a screen protector. Number 2, I got a leather skin for the Steam Deck from D-Brand. And I'll be honest with you, this leather skin improved holding the Steam Deck significantly. I was never a big fan of how the Steam Deck felt. I always thought it felt a little cheap. It was not a very good plastic feeling, and I'll be honest with you, the leather Steam Deck skin is so worth the $50 price of admission that admittedly is high, but I'll be honest with you, it is more than worth the money, and it is seriously improved playing on the Steam Deck. I love the way it feels, and I really don't ever see myself taking this thing off of here. In future Steam Deck revisions and everything, I definitely plan on buying this exact same leather skin to put on my Steam Deck. I have the black leather one. It looks almost identical to how it looked before, but it just feels so much nicer and is way better for daily use. Now, when it comes to emulating older games, I have to say the Steam Deck is pretty much undefeated completely. Obviously, I own copies of every game I emulate. I want to make that very clear before the Nintendo ninjas get me. I did not emulate a single game that I did not purchase. I want to make it very clear that on this channel, I do not condone piracy. You do whatever you want, but that's just the way I look at things. I tried a few Switch games. I was not impressed by the way they run. But I have to say, for everything up to around the PlayStation 3, this Steam Deck can run it really, really well, and that includes all those amazing PlayStation 2 JRPGs that I just absolutely love. I can play them all on the go, and I can also dock the Steam Deck. I finally got around to docking it. I use what's called the DockTech dock. I have not purchased the official Steam Deck dock just yet. I plan on getting eventually, but for right now, I'm perfectly satisfied with this DockTech USB-C hub that has an HDMI out. It works perfectly, and I can play all the PS2 games on my big TV, or I could take them with me portably. So it kind of does what the Nintendo Switch does, but also allows me to take games that would never hit the Nintendo Switch with me and also dock them, which is a serious plus side. Now, I do not want to paint this picture that the Valve Steam Deck is this perfect console that has nothing that could be fixed on it, that is just absolutely perfect in every way, shape, or form. That is far from the truth. There are ways that the Switch OLED can absolutely destroy the Steam Deck. For example, one of my favorite games of all time, I talk about it in nearly every single video, it feels like at this point, Valhalla, a cyberpunk bartender action. The game does not look the best on the Steam Deck. It has a lot of blacks, and I'll tell you the truth, it looks significantly better on the Switch OLED. The Switch OLED screen is a fantastic screen, and there is nothing taking it away from that. If a game is not technically demanding, I can run it at a locked 30 or even a locked 60. I would rather play it on the Switch OLED, no questions asked. As nice as the power and the great UI and everything about having all my Steam games in one spot and everything else is, there's nothing that can change the fact that the Switch OLED screen is so much better than the Valve Steam Deck's is, and it does not make up for it. The Steam Deck is an amazing console for games that push the limits, but if the game is on Switch and it is a indie game or a lower budget game that can run on practically anything, I would much rather play it on the Switch OLED. I can actually take it places. It's significantly more portable. I have a ton of stuff already established on the Switch. Obviously, if you've been watching my channel for a long period of time, you know how much I love the Switch. The screen is significantly better than the IPS panel that is on the Steam Deck, and that's kind of the main thing holding back the Steam Deck. The second thing, I guess there's two more. The second thing being the battery life for some people is a problem. Me personally, I have not had it. It's a problem for me, but I can understand how it would be a problem for some people. I just don't have time to play video games for such extended periods of time, so if I can get 1 to 2 hours out of it, that's good enough for me. I throw it on the charger, and I don't think about it again. So that's fine for me, but I can understand for certain people how that would definitely be a problem. The size is the other thing that is just bad compared to the Switch. It's close to the Switch's size, but it's just enough wider that it kind of makes it a little bit too much, and I really wish it was just a little bit thinned out, a little bit less wide, and a little more compact. I think that would make a major difference for the Steam Deck and make an overall much better console. But Valve has already talked about they want to make the battery life better, and they also want to give it a better screen. Hopefully we can shrink up those bezels as well. It's a shame that it has bezels the size of the Switch from 2017, and in 2017 we all thought that the Switch's bezels were insanely excessive, even for back then. So, when Nintendo is moving along faster than other companies, that's not a good sign, considering the fact that Nintendo always uses older parts and prioritizes repurposing technology rather than pushing the boundaries of technology. So that's definitely something to be said. But I think it's definitely safe to say that there is so many more positives than negatives with the Valve Steam Deck, and if I were you, I would not make the decision that I made. I would get that 64GB one and change the SSD. There's a ton of videos on it. It's a relatively easy thing to do. I bought the 512GB, and I definitely regret it. I wish I would have just swapped the SSD out and just called it a day. I could have got more storage for less money, and I think that is the thing that you should do if you are a little bit handy and you kind of understand what you're doing. It's not very difficult. Look up a video or something. Really is not a difficult task, but that's kind of all I wanted to talk about in this video. I wanted to give you guys kind of a final verdict video on the Valve Steam Deck because I've seen a lot of people online and there's still a lot of hesitation with a lot of people. Should I buy it? Is it for me? There's so many variables there, and I truly feel like it is definitely for a lot of people. I definitely do not think it is a much better console than the Switch OLED. I think it is a much better value for your money, if that makes sense. I definitely think the Switch OLED holds its own and has a better library of exclusive titles, but if we're talking just everything included, the Steam Deck has more games, and it is a better value price to performance. but there's still plenty of reason to buy a Switch OLED, and I truthfully think that a Switch OLED is a much more portable device, and I'm not by any means saying that the Steam Deck's replacing my Switch at all. Let's not deny how much better the Switch OLED screen is too than the Steam Deck. Like I already highlighted, it's just night and day. And if you play a bunch of indie games and non-technically demanding games, I say save $50 and just get a Switch OLED. But if you want something that could do it all with a slightly worse screen and slightly less portable, slightly is kind of a bad word to use, significantly less portable, but it has a ton more power, then maybe the Steam Deck's for you. I'm just kind of comparing them both because they're kind of the most prolific consoles on the market that are portable. So all things considered, and when it comes down to it, I know that the Steam Deck, it is a fantastic addition to the portable market. I'm not saying it's going to replace my Switch anytime soon whatsoever. I use my Switch all the time, but I'm not going to lie to you all. I have been using the Steam Deck a little bit more lately. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I know it kind of turned into Steam Deck versus Switch OLED, which I already did that video, but I hope this video did a good job kind of highlighting my final verdict on the Steam Deck. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. Jimmy out of here.